How did the Genders at Work project get started?
Genders at Work is an institutional research project that I developed as a result of being the Athena Swan project manager and a critical researcher in higher education. I wanted to try to expand the frame of Athena Swan beyond the career pipeline and the leaky pipeline, which it focuses on quite a bit, and also beyond the sort of traditional, conventional mechanisms that there tends to be a lot of focus on: maternity leave, career breaks, that kind of thing. All that stuff is really important. But the Athena Swan framework itself had expanded to include all staff, all genders, all disciplines. And I wanted to see if I can capture some of the complexity within people's lived experience of the organisation, which I could then bring to bear on the work around Athena Swan.
What struck you most about the Genders at Work project, and what do you think were your most interesting findings?
Okay, what struck me most was, first of all, the overwhelming response to the call for participants. So I think within a week of putting out the call, I think I had 90 expressions of interest. I didn't end up interviewing 90 individuals, but I did interview 50, which was, that's a lot for a qualitative project. The most interesting findings so far are that despite all the equality, diversity, inclusion initiatives, charter marks, all the things that universities do put great store by, there is still an enormous amount of sexism, racism that is going on under the radar, and that's both institutional, individual, and unintentional as well, much of the time. The other thing that was particularly interesting was the opportunity the research gave me to explore the archetypes of career, which are quite popularly used: the glass ceiling, the glass escalator, the glass cliff, and the glass closet. Most people are familiar with the glass ceiling, but perhaps less familiar with the other three. But through Genders at Work, I was able to explore those phenomenon more closely, and I've used them in how I report the findings.
Could you tell us any more information about the novel ways in which you present your work?
So I do use the academic conventions in terms of reporting data, so conference papers, journal articles, and book chapters, etc. But the two novel ways I've developed are firstly a graphic essay, and secondly the use of poetry. In terms of the graphic essay, that arose from some cartooning that I was started to do, representing the glass ceiling, the glass cliff, the glass escalator, the glass closet. And then that developed into a large-scale comic format, 4 panels describing the project and the selected findings. The second one, the poetry, which I'm going to be performing later today, that's a poetic sequence entitled Glass, and that uses participants' own words with my own poetry as well, and my own role as a researcher coming in to frame that. So it's quite a disruptive experience because people don't normally expect to hear social sciences research, for instance, delivered through poetry. To conclude, here is a question you can take away. How will you crack the glass, enclosing some, exposing some, blinding others to their privilege? Reflect on it.